Okay, and welcome to the Subex Fireside Chat with Mr. Umesh Gupta. Today, we're going to discuss digital transformation in large enterprises and an expert view on winning with AI-driven analytics. So, thanks, Umesh, for joining us. It's my pleasure to have you on our Fireside Chat. Umesh, is the CEO of PGI Data, working out of Singapore. Umesh has several years of experience in ensuring telcos have done digital transformation, right? And he understands this enterprise digital transformation field very well. And we thought we will have him over our Fireside Chat to kind of ask him some questions and get his responses to understanding where the telcos and large enterprises are heading to today in their transformational journey. Umesh, welcome, and invite you to add a little intro of yourself to what I've added. Thanks.
I think thanks, Suresh. Thanks for inviting me for this session. It's my pleasure to be here. And like you said, yes, data and digital transformation has been my take for the last 30 years in my career. Like just starting from, when I started my career, it was like no IT to get people to, because that was one kind of digital transformation we have seen. And now we are talking about next level of digital transformation, which is beyond IT per se, not traditional IT, not to get to things more self-service, more paperless, more analytical, more automated in terms of machine enabled rather than human enabled. Mm. So thanks for the opportunity once again.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to, touch upon, I see that you recently moved roles. I wanted to ask you, tell us about your new role and what's the connection with the digital transformation there?
Yeah. So I've been working for almost 30 years now, Suresh, and I've been in various roles in various sides of the table. And I've always been thinking, when working with one organization, one area, yes, you get to do a lot of stuff, but I've been thinking that sometimes I've been constrained in terms of I can do something for some other sectors also. Now it's working for so long, have worked with various industry segments and been played a key role in digital transformation in smartphone. My recent thing, embarked the journey. Like Indonesia market's a high traditional market and been a big challenge for moving away from traditional to how to make it offline to online strategy. I've been working on it. Mm-hmm. So then I thought, now it's a time, that probably I go on the other side of the table and work with the CIOs of different companies, bounce off with each other, and then help contribute them. And PGI was one of the vehicles which I saw. It's a set of, it's a startup which started around 3-4 years back. I've done good in last 3-4 years, and they were trying to embark their journey, big journey. And I thought I think it will be good for me to be captain of the ship and steer it in the right direction.
Beautiful. So I think now we have both sides of the,
yeah, I have an interesting profile, Suresh, that I have been a customer, I have been a vendor to the large organized, large SIs, and I have been employed. So and a consultant also, like, so yeah, without the companies, with large SIs also I worked in all spirits, as a customer, as an employee, as a consultant, and then again going the customer, now again as a partner.
As a partner. Yeah, I mean, that's fantastic. That gives the multidimensional view of, I think you've seen this transformation from different angles. So, that's what we really want to tap into today. So, okay. So Umesh, I think, just taking it to the next question in terms of, given your long and, deep experience in telcos, like the way you just said, right? Playing multiple different roles in different dimensions. What is, in your opinion, are barriers to digital transformation? I think you spoke about generation 1 digital transformation, and you're talking about maybe generation 2 or generation 3, right? What do you see are the barriers to this entire transformation in telcos?
In terms of, if you really ask me, I don't think there's a technology barrier per se. Mm. So technology, I think it's more of an investment related, how much appetite, and a telco has. Because if you look at globally, barring the European market, if you talk more on the ASEAN region and Asia Pac region, ASEAN and India and Africa, where most of my experience has been, they work on very thin margins. And so technology investment, but if they see a value, they are not scared of investment. They have done big investments. But the two things which is primarily, one is the process side of it. See, telcos have been very conservative on process optimization. I think that is one thing which has to change. So they have to come with very, revisit and rethink things differently. Like I like to tell you, in my previous organization, when I went through the onboarding process, it was roughly around 25-30 step process. I said, how can we simplify it? Why do we need to, a customer has to go through so many pain and then do it? Can we make it a 5-step process, a 3-step process? Yeah, to be in compliance with the regulatory bodies. So we worked on to that, those kind of worked upon. So process optimization is one, look things from a different angle altogether. It cannot be our traditional process, digitize it, and it's a digital transformation. No, it has a process reengineering is required. Second, which is the biggest important, is resource upskilling. See, though telcos have been working in, so there's a different mindset, because why I'm saying upskilling, not hiring, is because there's a limited pool available, and it's always old knowledge which is required and the new fresh thought process also. So resource upskilling and mindset change is a big thing which is required. And in fact, it took me also some time. Otherwise, most of the time I used to be, I'll tell you, around 3-4 years back, somebody will say, oh yeah, I did it 10 years back, something similar. But yes, you would have done it, but now it's totally different. It has to be done in a very different way. You would have taken it 1 year to do the transformation. Nobody has a multi-year, multi-transformation, year transformation project pin. People want your transformation. I want to see results in 6 months, 3 months kind of. So I think resource upscaling and mindset change is a very big thing which is required. Those are the two things. Third, there is a regulation piece which also needs to be worked upon, because now, especially this, not more from a data perspective, it's more from data privacy. Now with the cloud coming into picture, you don't know where your data is lying. And today, most of the countries which I've seen, they're very, very restricted on my data going out. And I can understand data, how to data to be used, but if it's staying in this country or a different country, cloud, you don't know where your data is sitting sometimes. So I think that regulation angle is another to give it is required to boost the entire digital transformation thing. It's something similar to where, VoIP was not legal before, but the moment today, nobody talks about it. I think that will happen with data also.
Interesting. Okay. So, I mean, I think you touched upon technology. Technology doesn't seem to be a barrier, but I think you talked about process. It's a need for simplifying the process, right? I think that seems to be another transformational journey. Upskilling people, getting the people to work with the latest in the technology space, I suppose, I think is an important thing. And of course, regulation seems to be another dimension to the overall transformation journey. So, looking at all these things, right? I think as a CIO or as a looking at the overall journey, how do you get insights into the where the company is going, where the telco is headed? What kind of a data you use, and what kind of insights that you try to get out of the data?
Yeah, I tell you,
do you see analytics as having?
Yeah, so I think my telco stint has been almost 15 years now,
right?
And any business which has adopted analytics, I think telco was the one which is the biggest adopter of, any telco you go to, first thing, I'll not say analytics, BI, business intelligence. There's a difference in my perspective, insights, business insights and analytics, two different things, but they were very strong, has always been on business insights onto that. And last 10 years, if you see, I think most of the telcos have matured onto the getting the data in shape, getting the insights, and taking data-driven decisions. So they have been doing it from a different perspective. So I have seen personally, because which market I should be going. Like network planning was one area, not about the sales alone. Network planning, analytics, insights has been a big for telcos. Similarly, market penetration, churn prediction. It's like we were talking about some time back. churn area. The analytics is big over there.
Right.
But I still feel it's more data or insights or report driven. It's not intelligence. You're still looking at data and reports and then inferring the decisions over there.
Very
So
interesting.
getting more insights. So that's what telco has been strong. Now I think the journey has to be more AI ML driven, where artificial, it should be able to learn, the machine should be learning and recommending it to you. Today, if you see, even if you talk about AI ML today, most of the company, they want machine to do what they think rather than reverse. And I think next few years, the pattern has to change. Machine will think and ask human being to see, this is what you need to do. Man assisted by machine rather than machine assisted by man.
Very interesting. Yeah, very interesting. I think, you touched upon something very important, right? I think while you're saying that, telcos have matured in terms of how they use analytics, is probably table stakes now. But in terms of maturity of AI ML in enterprise decision analytics, how ready are enterprises in their AI ML journey, Mr. Ramesh?
I think it just started to pick up. And any telco, I don't have ML, but truly it's mostly inside AI ML. They've just started to pick it up, and it's just still some time. Like I said, people have to start understanding. Resources have to be upskilled to start really using it. You say, for example, if you go to the business side, they still talk of insights, not analytics or machine learning, how it can happen automatically. On the core IT side, yes, people have started to adopting auto healing and all that stuff. But on a business perspective, I feel still there is a lot of room and a lot of work needs to be done over there.
Okay, interesting.
It's yes, everybody acknowledges it's important, but it's like it's like cloud adoption. I started working on the cloud almost 17, 18 years back, when the concept and all that stuff. The CIOs themselves was not buying it, but slowly, if you really see cloud thing started booming in the last 6 to 7 years. Same is happening with AI ML. People have started to talk about it in the last 2, 3 years, but I think there's another 4, 5 years where people will really, it will become true AI ML. That's what my opinion is. And a lot of role will go into the technology partners over there. While I said technology is not a challenge, but simplification of technology is a challenge. You have to simplify it for people. If it still becomes, is that for AI ML, people still have to be dependent upon huge data scientists. They have to go back and they have to go to IT for coding and all those things, go through the normal SDLC cycle or an agile thing. It's going to fail. The end user has to be empowered that he should be able to do his own things together. I think that's one area which we need to work upon. You simplify, it will keep adopting.
Yeah, I think you said it really well. I think for someone who has done large scale IT transformation with migration, I think you've done 1,000+ server workloads to cloud, I think, in one of your previous journeys, right?
Yeah. So I've handled one of the largest implementation site. That was there in my previous assignment. We did it. I've built, I don't know how much infrastructure.
That was the beginning of the cloud era. I mean, like
No. It was not a beginning of the cloud era. It depends upon the country and the maturity you are going to.
Yeah.
But if you really ask me, I did that only 2 years back. Will I do it differently today? Yes. It will be very different from the way I will execute it today.
You would do it today.
Yeah.
Okay. So. And if I had to ask you, the reason why it will be different today is because of the stack, the technology stack will be different today compared to what it was previously available, or is it?
No, I think more than the technology stack, it is the maturity of the people which has come in. Without naming one of my customers during my IBM, one of the customers I was talking to, a pretty senior guy, he was not convinced that cloud is cost beneficial. I had an 8-hour session with him to convince him, it's not that cloud is beneficial for everything, but there is a benefit for a certain set of workloads, what it is. It took me 8 hours to convince him. Why is it cheaper? Because I'd say cheaper is one, but it's how it's optimal use, the best use in terms of. So that maturity of users also has come in. Some might feel that this data is very critical. It has to see it set in this hardware only. It cannot work on a different set of hardware. I need this tiering. The situation was made over complex. So that was one. I felt that can be simplified now with the maturity in the organization when you start adopting. Second, of course, technology also has evolved. Similarly, like AI, auto provisioning, auto AMI, auto workload migrations have started to happen. So that will also help us do it differently.
I mean, so the way you see it, I think, is the adoption to cloud. Has it been accelerated because of the pandemic here? Umesh, have you seen that as a specific role it played?
I will not say because of the pandemic, cloud has accelerated. I think cloud was unavoidable. People had to go for it.
Okay.
But what has happened is with pandemic, I think digital transformation has got a boost. Something which people were, okay, we will do it. But now it has become a necessity. You can't avoid it. So like it's been 2 years, I'm not traveling.
Almost, it feels like 2 years, isn't it?
Yeah, but and second thing is, so I don't count moving from Indonesia to Singapore to be a travel, but I'm talking about it from business travel perspective and all those things.
Right.
Travel is what I love. I like physical interaction and all those things more. And my leadership style has been, okay, fine. I'm not a single worker. Like, get 2-3 people into the room, we discuss, debate it out, and I'll be transparent. Initially, a couple of months, it was a challenge for me. But then slowly we started adopting Zoom, Teams, we started collaborate and then getting into it. Similarly, you're not able to go and sell into the market. You have to sell it digitally. A lot of processes, work from home. You cannot take papers home and all those things. So it has become a necessity now. And it will be a new way of working. COVID gone, not gone. It's a different thing. But I think digital transformation will embark. It will be accelerated. People would have done it, but this pandemic has accelerated the entire thing.
Interesting. I think the way you're saying it is, I think the new normal.
Yes.
Digital transformation is here to stay, and I think AI-driven analytics is the way forward. Right? I mean, is that what I'm hearing, Umesh?
Yeah. See, if you look at it, I don't know. So if I look at the earlier days, most of the ERP implementation happened during the industry slowdown time. When industry was booming, nobody had time for ERPs and all that stuff, and they were not even looking at cost optimization. But when the industry slowdown was there, everybody started adopting. That was the golden era for ERP. The same is happening with digital transformation. Now it's becoming inevitable. People have to do it. So that is what it is.
Beautiful. Very, very beautifully said. So, so I think any recommendations you want to share with our audience on winning with AI?
See, in my perspective, I think AI is there, guys. So I can also say, guys, adopt it. Don't be shy away with it, and it's going to therefore help you out. Do your job better. A lot of people think that the machine learning and AI will take away the jobs. I don't think so. And because I come from a very business background. One of the reasons I came into IT was automation of my own business, which we ran. So a lot of people said, and I've seen the era in my career beginning, I've seen the era people used to get allowance to working on computers. It was difficult. Today you ask, it's not there. So similarly, a lot of people feel a threat that AI ML come in will take away jobs. No, it will enrich your jobs. You'll do a higher scale jobs, and yes, of course, you have to upskill yourself. So don't shy away with that. I think that's one thing. And if you want to grow, you want to be more productive, I think AI ML is unavoidable. It has to be there.
Beautiful. So you're saying go adopt AI ML, don't run away from it, upskill yourself, whatever you need to do. That's a way forward. The second one, I think you're basically saying is, that's essentially what I think the whole world is going to change, move forward as well.
If you don't upskill yourself, you will become redundant in any case.
Yeah.
I started my career as a COBOL programmer. See, if I would have not upskilled myself or gone with new things, who will ask me today? Nobody.
Lovely session. So, lastly, I want to ask you a very different question though, right? I want to, I see that you are a, tech geek kind of a person. I mean, you have, have a, you want to work, play with the tech toys that are there in the market. So what are you playing right now?
So, I initially, see, that's a very interesting subject. So my hobby used to be, when I used to go to the market earlier, and we used to find a lot of gadgets and toys and to be bought and all that stuff. Now those gadgets become accessories, and I am telling you why. Because one big piece which is there is this. I'm not saying because of telco. This has become the biggest toy for everybody.
Absolutely.
And what you do, all this in all the accessories. So I keep working upon accessories around this. I have set it up a studio at my, because that was a pandemic thing, and I've been alone. So having calls on iPad and all is not. It's good, but you sometimes not a whiteboarding, large screen and all those things. So first thing I did was I have a 85-inch TV with some speakers, Polycom. In fact, this fireside session actually I wanted to do in my studio there, but then I said, it will not be a little bit of an informal arrangement. So otherwise, I was wanting to do it very differently.
Nice. Should have done that. Maybe next time, Umesh.
Yeah, probably we can do that. So, I don't feel a need of whiteboard and all that stuff now, and more on the professional front. And so, like other day, now I'm working upon, I'm working on home automation a lot now.
Okay.
Home automation. So it used to be a very complex thing earlier, and that's where the AI/ML and kind of a thing. Earlier you have to do an automation, home automation. It will cost you a huge sum of money. But now the devices are coming ready. There are apps available, so I've started working on it. Unfortunately, I'm rented accommodation in Singapore, so I'm doing minimalistic because I have to leave it behind. But that's another one. So that's what. So journey is how to use mobile device more and more, and make it beyond. It's not phone anymore. It's a PC. Probably when I started my career, my server was this phone is much stronger than the servers itself.
Yeah, I mean, I think smartphone probably is a misnomer today. I think, right?
It's not a phone.
Much bigger than just a phone, as you say. Okay.
I remember when iPod was launched by the touch iPod was launched by Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs, yeah.
Yeah. The first thing I said, why didn't he build in the another small module on phone also? Everything is there, all software is there, speaker, just a mic and some of the radios which he had to put in.
There you go.
And it was coming in. I'm sure it was there in the plan. So
it took 6 years though, Umesh.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things which goes in regulation, compliances, perfection, and all those things. So
fantastic. Yeah, thanks. I think that's been a wonderful, conversation with you. I learned so much. So thank you so much for joining us today on the Fireside Chat, Umesh.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Look forward to talking to you again another topic sometime soon.
Thank you. Best of luck. Stay safe. Stay healthy.